Hello guys, welcome to today's chemistry video session. We are learning the topic chemical bonding and molecular structure. So far we have seen three theories to explain the bond formation: Coastal-Lewis approach, VSEPR theory and VB theory. We have seen VSEPR theory was able to explain the shapes of simple molecules, but it was unable to predict the exact shape in number of cases. So, with the advent of VB theory, the shapes of molecules could be explained more precisely. I have explained VB theory, that is valence bond theory, in the previous videos. So, according to VB theory, how a covalent bond is formed? A covalent bond is formed by the overlap of half-filled atomic orbitals. We have seen two different types of covalent bonds, sigma and pi, and how the overlapping takes place. So the extent of overlap decides the strength of the bond formed, and the direction of overlap gives you the direction of the bond. But in applying this theory, a difficulty was faced in a number of cases. According to VB theory, a covalent bond is formed by the overlap of a half-filled atomic orbital. So the covalency of the element should be equal to the number of half-filled orbitals present in an atom of that element. What is meant by covalency? The number of bond that particular atom can make with another atom. For example, if the covalency is 1, it can form a single bond. If the covalency is 2, it can form a double bond. So the covalency of the element should be equal to the number of half-filled orbitals present in an atom of that element according to VB theory. But on the basis of this concept, the formation of many compounds, especially that of beryllium, boron and carbon, could not be explained. Now let's take a look at this problem. Here I have written the electronic configuration of the three elements: beryllium, boron and carbon. Atomic number of beryllium is 4 and the electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2. And for boron it is 5, so the configuration is 1s2, 2s2 and 2px1. For carbon, atomic number is 6, so the configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2px1 and 2py1. According to VB theory, when you look at these configurations, we can conclude that the covalency of beryllium is 0 because there is no half-filled atomic orbital, and the covalency of boron is 1 since it has only one half-filled. So this half-filled can overlap with the reacting atom, another half-filled atom, to form a bond. So the covalency of boron should be 1. Same way, the covalency of carbon according to VB theory should be 2. But actually the covalency of beryllium is 2, not 0. Boron is 3, not 1. And carbon is 4 and not 2 as suggested by VB theory. You can confirm that valencies by looking at this example. See, beryllium forms a compound BeF2. So what is the covalency of beryllium in BeF2? 2, because it has formed bonds with 2 fluorine atoms. So covalency of beryllium is 2 here. Same way, take the example BF3. The covalency of boron here is 3 because it has bonded with 3 fluorine atoms. And same way for carbon, CH4, the covalency is 4. So the actual covalencies of beryllium, boron and carbon are 2, 3, 4 and not 0, 1, 2 as expected by VB theory. So to explain this exact covalencies of these elements, it was suggested that one paired electron becomes unpaired and jumps to an empty orbital without consuming excessive energy. For example, let's take carbon. The configuration of carbon is 1s2, 2s2, 2px1 and 2py1. There are two half-filled atomic orbitals. So the covalency of carbon according to VB theory should be 2. But we have seen the covalency of carbon to be 4. For example, in CH4. So to explain this, it was suggested one paired electron becomes unpaired. Let's take this paired electron. This becomes unpaired and jumps to an empty orbital. What is an empty orbital here? We have 2pz with no electrons. So this paired electron becomes unpaired and jumps to an empty orbital, and that happens without consuming excessive energy. So now what will be the new configuration? 1s2, 2s1, because the paired electron has become unpaired. So 2s1, 2px1, 2py1. This unpaired electron, one of the electron jumps to the empty orbital, which is 2pz. So 2pz1. We call this configuration as ground state configuration of carbon, and this one as excited state, because this paired electron has become unpaired and jumped to a new empty orbital. So we call this as excited state configuration. So now if you see carbon, it has 4 unpaired electrons, which means 4 half-filled atomic orbitals. What are they? 1s and 3 p orbitals. Now this 1s and 3 p orbitals can overlap with the half-filled orbitals of the reacting atoms. Say for example hydrogen, so they can form 4 covalent bonds. See, they can form 4 covalent bonds. Suppose if we take the example of hydrogen, now see, one s orbital is going to overlap with s orbital of one hydrogen atom, px with s orbital, py with s orbital, and pz with s orbital of hydrogen atom. So you are going to end up with 4 covalent bonds formed by the overlap of this 2s and 3 2p orbitals. You have to notice one thing here. The covalent bond formed by 2s orbital of carbon should differ in energy from the bonds obtained by these 3 p orbitals. I repeat, the covalent bond formed by this 2s orbital of carbon with another atom should differ in energy from the bonds obtained by these 3 p orbitals with other atoms. But experimental data clearly show that all the 4 bonds of carbon are same in energy. So as I told you, experimental data show that all the 4 bonds of carbon are same in energy. So a new concept was introduced to explain this abnormal behavior of carbon, or you can say a deviation from valence bond theory. So that new concept is hybridization. According to this concept, all the 4 orbitals of carbon having unpaired electrons and possessing slightly different energies, they mix up their energies and then redistribute to 4 new orbitals, each having the same amount of energy. This new concept was referred as hybridization. So you can exactly define hybridization as, it is defined as the mixing of the atomic orbitals belonging to the same atom. Here we are talking about carbon atom. What are the atomic orbitals we are talking here? We are talking about 2s, 2px1, 2py1 and 2pz1. So there is going to be a mixing of the atomic orbitals belonging to the same atom but having slightly different energies, so that a redistribution of energy takes place between them, resulting in the formation of new orbitals of equal energies and identical shapes. The new orbitals thus formed are known as hybrid orbitals. So before undergoing this mixing process, we have 4 different orbitals having slightly different energies. But after hybridization, all the 4 orbitals are going to have equal energies and identical shapes. This mixing of orbitals to form new orbitals is called as hybridization, and the new orbitals formed are known as hybrid orbitals. You can have a easy example to understand this. Suppose if I have 4 buckets of paints. In one bucket I have a red paint, and in 3 buckets I have white paints. If I'm mixing all the 4 together in a big bucket and then again I refill the 4 buckets, what will be the resulting color of the paint? All will be in pink color. But before I mix that, I had 1 bucket of red paint and 3 buckets of white paints. Once I mix them together, now all are having equal color. So same thing happens in hybridization. Before mixing up, we have different orbitals and they are having different energies. but the energy difference is very slight, not much difference. After mixing up, all the orbitals are going to have the same energies and same shapes, and this process is called hybridization, and we are going to see that concept in detail, taking few examples. And I want to mention one thing here. The electron is excited to a higher orbital. In the case of carbon, from s orbital it is jumping to the p orbital. Energy is required. That energy required for excitation of electrons becomes available when the combining atoms approach each other. Okay, when they approach each other, energy is released. I've explained that when I told you about VB theory and the orbital concept and the energy considerations. How energy is released when the combining atoms approach each other. So the energy required for excitation of electrons is provided by this energy. So that is the reason why hybridization never takes place in an isolated atom but occurs only at the time of bond formation. So keep that in mind. We are talking about this concept hybridization, and that happens only at the time of bond formation, not in the atom when it is isolated or it is not forming any bond. Now let's see some important points about hybridization. First point, only those orbitals which have approximately equal energies and belong to the same atom or ion can undergo hybridization. I just told you, when they are undergoing hybridization, which means the mixing of orbitals, that mixing can happen only with those orbitals which have approximately equal energies. Their energies should not differ much, and all these orbitals undergoing hybridization should belong to the same atom or ion. And point number 2, the number of hybrid orbitals produced is equal to the number of atomic orbitals mixed. Let's take again the example of carbon. I told you how many atomic orbitals are undergoing hybridization. 4. 2s, 2px, 2py and 2pz. So 4 atomic orbitals are undergoing hybridization. So how many resultant hybrid orbitals you will get? 4 hybrid orbitals. And one more thing you have to remember here, it is not necessary that all the half-filled orbitals must participate in hybridization. That I will explain you with example. I'll just introduce that here. For example, if you take carbon, we have 4 orbitals. It is not necessary that all the 4 orbitals should undergo hybridization. Sometimes 2s and 2px alone will undergo hybridization, or 2s, 2px, 2py will undergo hybridization, and what is left behind? 2pz is left behind. It depends upon what compound we are taking to explain this hybridization. So it differs in different compounds. And the third point, not only half filled, even completely filled orbitals with slightly different energies can also participate in hybridization. And the fourth point, hybridization never takes place in isolated atoms. Just now I mentioned it occurs only at the time of bond formation because energy is needed. So that energy is released when 2 atoms approach to form a bond. So hybridization can also take place only at the time of bond formation. And the last point, type of hybridization indicates the geometry of the molecules, which means the shape of the molecules. We have different types of hybridization which we will be seeing now. So that type of hybridization indicates the geometry of molecules. So now we will move on to the types of hybridization. There are 3 types of hybridization: diagonal or sp hybridization, 2 trigonal or sp3 hybridization, and 3 tetrahedral or sp3 hybridization. I repeat, diagonal or sp, trigonal or sp2, tetrahedral or sp3 hybridization. Now let's see one by one. First hybridization, diagonal or sp hybridization. When one s and one p orbital, see, one s and one p orbital belonging to the same main shell of an atom mix together to form 2 new equivalent orbitals. 2 new equivalent orbitals. The type of hybridization is called sp hybridization or diagonal hybridization. and the new orbitals that are formed are called sp hybrid orbitals. And these orbitals have an angle of 180 degree. Now see, 1s, let's take 2s. So this 1 means count number of s orbitals, and this 2s means that represents the shell number. So 2s orbital overlaps with 1p orbital. Here I am taking 2px. So when they overlap, we get sp orbital, hybrid orbital. So see, we are taking carbon as an example again. So we have 2s, 2px, 2py and 2pz. Of all the 3 p orbitals, the overlap is going to take place between, which means the mixing is going to take place between 2s and 2px. They are going to mix together, which means they are undergoing hybridization to give you sp hybrid orbitals. And note one thing here, 2py and 2pz are unhybrid orbitals. They are not involving in hybridization. So see, 2s and 2p, they are undergoing sp hybridization and they are giving you 2 sp hybrid orbitals. So this is one sp hybrid orbital and this is one sp hybrid orbital, and this has an angle of 180 degree. Okay, so the shape of the hybrid orbital, and it is made from s and p, is like that of p orbital, except that the two lobes are unequal in size. So don't worry about the shape of the hybrid orbitals, just understand the geometry. So sp hybrid orbital has a geometry 180 degree, and each hybrid orbital here has 50% s character and 50% p character, because we are having one s and one p undergoing hybridization to give you 2 sp hybrid orbitals. See, I told you the number of new hybrid orbitals formed depends upon the number of atomic orbitals undergoing hybridization. Here 2 atomic orbitals undergoing hybridization, so you are getting 2 hybrid orbitals. And the name of the new hybrid orbitals also comes from the orbitals undergoing hybridization. Here s and p are undergoing hybridization, so the new hybrid orbitals are called as sp. And examples of compounds which show sp hybridization are BeF2, BeCl2, and carbon compounds which has a triple bond. We will be seeing all this in detail in the upcoming videos. So as for now, you remember sp hybridization is shown in these compounds. BeF2, which means who is showing sp hybridization? Be. Beryllium is undergoing sp hybridization. Here also beryllium is undergoing sp hybridization in the compound BeCl2. Same way carbon will undergo sp hybridization. That can be seen in compounds having carbon-carbon triple bond. As I told you, the remaining 2 p orbitals which do not participate in hybridization, they remain as such. If these are half-filled, they may form bonds with other atoms having half-filled atomic orbitals. The next hybridization is trigonal or sp2 hybridization. When one s and 2 p orbitals of the same shell of an atom mix to form 3 new equivalent orbitals, the type of hybridization is called sp2 hybridization or trigonal hybridization. And the new orbitals that are formed are called sp2 hybrid orbitals. See, 1s and 2p orbitals, they are undergoing hybridization. They are going to mix to form 3 new equivalent orbitals, because 1s and 2p, so totally 3 atomic orbitals are mixing up. So you will end up with 3 new equivalent orbitals, and we call that as sp2, 1s, 2p. So sp2 hybrid orbitals, and all the 3 hybrid orbitals remain in the same plane and they make an angle of 120 degree. Just like we have seen in the case of sp hybridization, all the 2 hybrid orbitals, they form an angle of 180 degree. Here all the 3 hybrid orbitals are going to form an angle of 120 degree. See, 1s and 2p, they are undergoing hybridization to give you 3 sp2 hybrid orbitals. So this is one sp2, this is one sp2, and this is one sp2. And you have to remember, each of the hybrid orbitals formed has 33% s character and 67% p character. And this non-participating p orbital, as I told you already, if it is half-filled, can form bond with other atoms having half-filled orbitals, but this is not involving in hybridization. So this will be the angle in the case of sp2 hybrid orbitals. Now examples in which sp2 hybridization is shown by the central atom is bf3, bh3, and by carbon where it forms a double bond. Example is C2H4. We can discuss about this in the later videos under the topic shapes of molecules. So we have seen sp hybridization, sp2 hybridization. Now we will move on to the sp3 hybridization. sp3 hybridization, also called as tetrahedral hybridization. Here, when one s and 3 p orbitals belonging to the same shell of an atom mix together to form 4 new equivalent orbitals, the type of hybridization is called sp3 or tetrahedral hybridization, and the new orbitals are called sp3 orbitals. Now see, 1s and 3p orbitals, they are undergoing hybridization to form 4 new equivalent orbitals, and now we call this as sp3 hybrid orbitals because s, 3p, p3, so sp3 hybrid orbitals. And these 4 hybrid orbitals are directed towards the 4 corners of a regular tetrahedron. So they make an angle of 109 degree 28 minutes. So this is the angle in the case of tetrahedral hybridization or sp3 hybridization. Now see, 1s orbital and 3p orbitals, they are undergoing hybridization. So we call this as sp3 hybridization. You end up with 4 sp3 hybrid orbitals. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sp3 hybrid orbitals, and here each of these hybrid orbitals have 25% s character and 75% p character. Example of compounds showing sp3 hybridization is carbon, where it shows a single bond. It forms single bond. Example, methane, ethane. So in this case, carbon undergoes sp3 hybridization. So far from the examples that I've told, carbon can show sp hybridization, sp2 hybridization, and also sp3 hybridization. So what is the bond angle in the case of tetrahedral hybridization between the sp3 hybrid orbitals? 109 degree 28 minutes. So remember, there are 3 types of hybridization: sp, sp2 and sp3. In the case of sp, 1s and 1p, it is undergoing hybridization, and 2p orbitals are left unhybrid. And what will be the bond angle? 180 degree. Not the bond angle, the angle between the hybrid orbitals. And the next one is sp2 hybridization, where 1s and 2p orbitals are undergoing hybridization, whereas 1p orbital is left unhybrid, and the angle is 120 degree. And the third one is tetrahedral or sp3 hybridization, where 3p orbitals and 1 s orbital is undergoing hybridization, and the angle between the hybrid orbitals 109 degree 28 minute. And one more thing, the number of hybrid orbitals formed depends upon the number of atomic orbitals undergoing mixing. So in the case of sp, how many hybrid orbitals you get? 2 hybrid orbitals. In the case of sp2, you are getting 3 hybrid orbitals. In the case of sp3, 4. See, from this itself you can see p3 s1. So 3 plus 1, 4. So 4 hybrid orbitals. We will learn about the shapes of the molecules based on this hybridization in the next video. Thank you.